every amount of pain there.
Something big, like a Star Wars or a Marvel.
Wouldn't have been good, but would have been like,
No!
you are at the movies with Ace.
And Martin.
And we were at the movies this week as we both checked out Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the sequel to the Blumhouse, I guess now, classic video game movie. People do love that first one. Yeah, before we go into that, what is Nate, what is your connection to the Five Nights at Freddy's IP as a whole?
You know, I never played the games. I was culturally aware of them through, like, osmosis. I was in high school, I think, when those games were coming out, so I think I remember kids talking about them on the bus, things like that. I never really gave a shit. I remember when game theory was popular and Matt Pat was making videos about the lore. I might have clicked on one or two of those.
Yeah.
But I never really cared enough to, like, gotta try the game out for myself. But I know it always had, like, a huge fan base. And, like, a really dedicated one at that. And the amount of, like, lore deep dives and things of that nature, I've always respected the IP, even if I didn't understand it.
I feel pretty much the same way. I remember, like, you know, Markiplier, PewDiePie, like, it's that era of YouTube that played those games. It reminded me a lot of Slender Man, where it was a trendy game to play on YouTube. And yeah, I knew of the game theory stuff, but never had the game myself, I think. Maybe I played it once or twice, maybe with a friend, but didn't really connect to me. I don't know much about the lore. Actually, watching the sequel, I knew more than I thought, because I didn't realize it was actually going to be based on the second game.
Oh, I didn't yeah, I guess I caught that, but
Yeah.
it was so
You know,
weird
the
because
third
they
act.
take elements in the first movie from, like, the sixth game and a weird spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And the first one
Yeah, it's
didn't
weird.
connect for me at all. It's such a silly concept, and it just felt like it was the most, like, Blumhouse horror trauma movie. And you know, this is also coming from somebody who doesn't know anything about the lore in that, so I missed something. It could also be not my demographic. This movie is definitely, like, it has a big following with a younger audience. Yeah, it's very interesting, like, seeing that, but I'm always down for, like, a horror movie. I am always down for something
Yeah.
ridiculous in that genre, and I don't know why these movies just don't hit for me in any way.
the first movie kind of caught me off guard because I think I was just, like, in the mood for, like, a decent horror movie, and I don't think it was very good at all, but, like, the fact that I saw the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie not once but twice opening weekend when it had a day and date release on Peacock, and both of the shows I went to were sold out and people were, like, standing up and clapping like this was Avengers Endgame. It felt like a cinema is back. And I was probably the
Yeah.
oldest person in that theater by about 2 years. I went with my girlfriend once, my girlfriend at the time, and then I went with my two former co-hosts of Brap Watch, Alden and Amy. And so, like, both times it was, like, a total shit show and a lot of fun. And it was, like, it's because of that first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. I think that's where, like, the legs for the Minecraft movie to really pop off
Yeah.
and get that really, like, bombastic theatrical experience out of, like, preteens and teenagers. And I don't think that movie was particularly good. I was not scared for a moment, but I did like that it paid homage to what fans wanted to see and told its own story. Like, there's a lot of plot elements that are, like, borrowed from the game, and the villain's the same. The main character is, like, they had to add something, and I honestly think in both of these movies, Josh Hutchinson's pretty serviceable. Like, it's fun to see him do a franchise so stupid.
The career of Josh Hutcherson is very interesting. It's teen heartthrob with the Hunger Games. You know, before that, he was in, like, Bridge to Terabithia and stuff like that. Zathura, yep. He then kind of just, I felt like I saw him in nothing, and then all of a sudden, he's not only in Five Nights at Freddy's, he's the main character, and has signed on to, I think, like, 3 movies. Like, this was a planned thing that he's, like, attached to. And same goes for Matthew Lillard, which, you know,
Yep.
Matthew Lillard, famously for the Scream movies, Scooby-Doo, you know, late 90s, 2000s icon, has attached himself. And then in the sequel, we have Skeet Ulrich, also from Scream. And you see these castings on paper, and Megan Fox, voices Chica, I think it is, one of the
Yes.
animatronics. This is a very, like, late Gen Z Y2K type casting for some of these things. I feel like it's people younger than us that really connect with these movies, but they're still trying to get our demographic as well. And maybe it does work. Maybe there is a lot of people my age where these movies do work for them, but I don't feel any connection still, just on a film franchise perspective.
No, I totally get what you're saying, and I do think it is intentional that they are trying to like punch just a little bit up in terms of demographic and who they're marketing this towards, just because someone's got to drive these kids to the theater. You know, when Five Nights at Freddy's came out this past weekend, I got a thing on my Uber because I have a company Uber account for work, and I think some people use it personally and then like pay for it through the company or whatever. And because there's people with teenage kids, we were getting targeted ads like Five Nights at Freddy's 2's in theaters, teens ride for 40% off. And so it's like, what the hell? Like, teenagers can just take an Uber to the movie theater for a discounted rate. Like, I guess that's smart for the movie to market that way. But, I mean, yeah, someone's got to drive the middle schoolers. So, like, I think they want, like, the siblings that are back home from college to make the pilgrimage to the theater to see Five Nights at Freddy's with their little siblings. That's just a theory, a Nate theory.
I know it hasn't been that long since the first movie, but do you think the beginning of this movie did a good job at soft recapping the first one? Because I did feel a little lost at first. I kind of forgot what happened in the first movie.
This movie didn't really, like, lose me right off the rip. Like, it was kind of a slow descent into me being extremely...
The opening scene is kind of good.
It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah. I was kind of like, oh, because I did see it had like a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, but then it's got like an 88% audience reaction. So I'm like, maybe it's just one of those things. But yeah, and then the movie just kind of goes downhill after that.
I think this movie is far and away a lot worse than the second, or than the first. I think it's really funny because the last like horror movie we went to the theaters to go see was Black Phone 2, which I felt like expanded on its lore and added depth to its characters from the first one. A pleasant surprise. And I feel like they really dropped the ball in giving us new characters to care about in this. And I think the prime example of that is in the way they have Josh Hutchinson's younger sister. She's kind of the catalyst for the first movie. And in this movie, now she's like able to communicate with the animatronics again, and there's she's kind of the whole reason the plot happens again, because she wants to go see her friends again and all that kind of stuff. There's like a is she not possessed element too. And it's like they really don't do anything to add to that character other than to make her still seem like a dumb 8-year-old girl. But the problem is they shot the first movie 5 years ago, and now it's a dumb like 11-year-old girl. That's what they chose not to write her like an 11-year-old, and I thought that was dumb.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I feel like this kid was too old to be acting this way. Like, I don't think I'd still be obsessed with animatronic things, even if they came to life, even at 11 years old. By 11 years old, you know, you're thinking about other stuff. I mean, like, who would give a shit about that? Like, something, especially now. AI robot's going to be running around soon. Kids aren't going to be caring about that soon. It'll just be day to day.
The part of that that's like creepy too is these are all like children who were like tortured to death by these machines. Like their souls are possessing the characters, and that makes it weird. Like, I don't know. It's like uncomfy in a way that I'm not quite sure is the way the filmmakers intend.
I forgot it was that until the ghost kid pops out at the end, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I don't think this movie had any, like, truly scary moments. Like, I think the first one also suffered from that, but there was some, like, at least well-put-together set pieces in the first movie.
Right.
And this one, I literally, like, as the plot's taking off, and they go back to the first Five Nights at Freddy's location, and they briefly revisit the past one from the last movie.
Right.
But both times, I just feel like they're generic locations. Like, it feels really cheap. It's like they spent all the money on these animatronic costumes, which do look great. Like, it looks like the video game brought to life. When it's actually a practical puppet or a costume, it looks awesome.
Imagine having a river boat ride like that in your local Chuck E. Cheese. Like, that is kind of crazy. And it sounds like such a hassle, like lawsuit wise. You're telling me a kid never drowned in that? Like, I'm sorry, but like it's just like a Chuck E. Cheese, right? This isn't like a theme park.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, I think this is a better Jungle Cruise movie though than Jungle Cruise.
This movie, it had a lot of funny things on paper. Like you have that paranormal crew in the beginning there, and I thought they would be a bigger part of the movie, and I thought it would have been funny to kind of have like a paranormal type thing here.
Who wrote this? Me and Nick Alexander.
I was about to say, shout out to Nick Alexander, who probably loved that part. Yeah, and they got rid of them pretty quickly, and I was surprised by that, because I think that the starring role is McKenna Grace, yes, who is starting to get a lot of traction in Hollywood right now. I thought she was going to be like a supporting character in this, but this was probably shot, 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't really know probably that she was going to start to get some leading roles in movies.
A few performances in this that are like pretty good. Everyone's kind of along for the ride. Like they know what type of movie this is. Like I don't feel like the acting's the problem here. And like
No.
I think the script works for the audience they want it to work for. Like I don't think kids and fans of this franchise are too upset by it taking some liberties with the IP, which is kind of refreshing because like, Star Wars fans and other Marvel fans get like so frustrated when you do like a Mandarin fake out or Snoke is not an actual threat or whatever. But in this, they can kind of shift the power dynamics. I like how in the first one, the animatronics, you kind of see past them and they're kind of like Byronic heroes in a way. To focus on, Claptrap or whatever the hell Shaggy's doing in this.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, in the little scenes he is in this movie, he's acting, and I'm like, wow, this is really not the movie for that.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it because he's doing these movies like he's doing like 3 more.
Even in the one scene with Skeet, he's really good in the one scene he has. I'm like, I feel like we entered a different movie in that scene.
It was cool. I mean, I like the reunion. I like to see those two guys again.
I'd like to see them on screen together. Maybe they'll do that in the next movie. It seems they're setting up for, maybe him to finally get his revenge for his daughter, which, Skeet plays the father of this daughter that died in the beginning of the movie, who is kind of the big bad guy of the whole movie, pretty much, kind of the queen bee to all of this going on. I understood the plot. It really tried to be like an Empire Strikes Back. Like, once we got to the end of the movie, I'm like, I see what they were trying to do here, but it did not land the plane, because the first half of this movie, I'm just bored. Like, the fake trauma with, what's her name, Vanessa, working out, and she pulls a gun on her trainer, and it's never brought up again.
Absolutely crazy.
There was some weird
It's so
scenes.
funny because I've seen a lot of weird sequels this year. I went and saw The Bad Guys 2, which I think I might have been the only person to see in theaters because I made like $80 or something like that. And there's a very similar scene where the Fox mayor lady pulls a gun while training on the guy she's training with, and I'm like, the hell?
Yeah, there's stuff that just feels so random and like just needed a couple of rewrites screenplay wise. I mean, the reveal that her brother was kind of behind this, a character that I completely forgot that was in the beginning of the movie. It just wasn't good. Like, it needed some retouches. This movie was undercooked. It needed to be in the oven for a little bit more, I think.
Pretty certain, because I'm not that familiar with the source material or the lore, but I'm pretty sure a lot of those really weird story beats, like the brother twist and the revenge and the father and the stuff like that, I feel like all of those elements are like background lore that like people solve by finding Easter eggs in the FNAF games. And so I think there is sort of this like weird obligation of some of the fans expecting to see those elements. But I know that Vanessa's from like future generation, like 2 generations removed from the situation. So they're like kind of merging 2 timelines, I think. I don't know. I had a friend who was really into this shit when the first movie came out, and then that guy deleted his Discord and I haven't talked to him to figure out what the hell this movie was about. So I'm a little concerned.
Do you think video game movies could sometimes worry about the source material too much? Because, we grew up in an era of the Resident Evil movies that have no connection to video games. the Super Mario Brothers movie. Like we come from a different breed. The gamers now get a little spoiled with how much these movies care about the lore.
Yeah, I mean, I think for video game movies, I think it's always just mattered to get the aesthetics of the property correct.
Hmm.
And that's why I really liked the first one of these Five Nights at Freddy's games, because I was like, if I was a 12-year-old in like middle school and I wanted to go see a movie with my friends on the weekend, like Five Nights at Freddy's would have been a hit. Like that would have been the most popular
Yeah.
thing in the world at the time. So I can kind of remove my current self from it a little bit and think about like, who is this for and did that audience like it? But yeah, I do feel like there is like a little bit too much of like, it needs to be lore accurate to the games now. And
Yeah.
I think as we see the video game intellectual property movies take off, like I think we're only going to see more of this. I mean, the highest grossing movie of the year is like Minecraft movie besides Lilo and Stitch remake. Like, they're milking all of the IP out there.
I think domestically it is Minecraft, and Five Nights is right up there now in the top 10. This is the future of movies as the MCU kind of dwindles down. The DCU's there, but it's not dominating the box office by any means. I think this is the real future. This is the new Western, quote unquote. We are going to get oversaturated with this stuff eventually, I feel.
I think that's a pretty wise take, and I think I've been echoing that horn for a while. And it one thing that's going to be really interesting is the movies that were kind of lost to time. I feel like the first few video game movies were really bad, but like there's nostalgia for them and they're fun. I think of the original Super Mario Bros. Movie. I love that movie.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
like
very
the Mario
entertaining.
Brothers at all, but it's fun. I like
Yeah.
John Leguizamo. I like the cast. Dennis Hopper's chewing some scenery. And it's fun. It's a fun aesthetic. But the ones that are kind of like caught in the middle between that era and this one, I think of like the Assassin's Creed movie, which on paper should have been awesome. You had Michael Fassbender, you had Marion Cotillard, you had the director who just got done doing them in Macbeth. Like everything about that should have been really, really good. And then it like was kind of just dead on arrival.
Were those movies just too ahead of their time? Because even if you think about superhero movies, they made so much money. Not only did they capture younger audiences, but you had this group of people that grew up with comic books. And then in the 90s, you had people that watched these cartoons. And so you had almost these three generations. And now video game movies, I should say, now have two generations. They have us, that's got a little nostalgia edge to it. And then you have, people younger than us that still play it. So like maybe they kind of double their audience now in a way.
That is true, and I think more and more people are gaming now. Like, I think wider demographics of people are gaming. I think
so much easier to play a video game like Five Nights at Freddy's now than what it was in 2013.
Every kid in the world plays video games. Everyone who's our age probably has at least one video game on their phone.
Yeah.
And probably some on their computer or a station or a console. And then people that are a little bit older than us. Like, I know my sister still plays Crash Bandicoot sometimes. Like, And I mean, I think there's people that are way older than us that sunk a lot of time into World of Warcraft not that long ago. So it's one of those things where I guess the equivalent of the people that are in their 50s and 60s now that were gamers at one point is probably about the same percentage of people that grew up reading comics.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like, if that's the first generation and we're like somewhere in the second generation in these movies, if they come out with all of those demographics in mind, I think they can be a big success. I think what's really interesting is the ones that have really, really, really done well. I feel like the Illumination Mario movie, the Minecraft movie, and the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie, all three of those feel like they're targeted at the youngest generation.
Yeah. The Mario movie is interesting because the sequel is Mario Galaxy, a game that came out when we were kids. That is very strange to think about. Like, you think of that first 90s Mario movie, that was gearing towards people who had the original Nintendo and had Mario and Duck Hunt. And now it's gearing towards people who grew up on the Wii. I think there's a lot of people who have either younger siblings, cousins that probably gave them Super Mario Galaxy, probably gave them their old Wii, and that are finding these games. Just like how passing down a comic book or showing them, old movies. That's kind of where we're at, it seems, in our culture as well. It's quite interesting to see that, too.
Yeah, I think the Super Mario Galaxy of it all is like just logical. I think that game specifically has the most story
It
to
helps that the
adapt.
animation that they're going for, like the style, is from that era of Mario as well.
There's a lot of like characters of that game, like Rosalina specifically, that like are now tied. Like, there's never gonna make a Mario Kart game without Rosalina again.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's like the next big launch point of iconography, and that game's also like 17 years old. Like, we're old now too.
Yeah.
Like, Mario Galaxy's not like a new title. They did skip a lot of other things. Like, I was honestly expecting him to do like a Super Mario World kind of inspired one with the Yoshi reveal at the end of the first movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we're gonna go to Dinosaur Island and we're gonna see all that. And you could even bring back other Mario villains instead of it being Bowser again. Maybe Bowser has to team up or whatever.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're taking a lot of elements of Sunshine in this too. So you know what?
Yeah.
Let them do whatever they want. The fact that Nintendo is so hands-on with those movies and still letting Illumination make an Illumination movie with it is brilliant. Like, I like what they're doing.
That is what I commend about Five Nights at Freddy's, is you have guys like Matt Pack and people who actually love these things doing it. That was, the issue with these video game movies, is they were made by people who didn't care. I think there's a lot of people who have either younger siblings, cousins that probably gave them Super Mario Galaxy, probably gave them their old Wii, and that are finding these games. Just like how passing down a comic book or showing them, old movies. That's kind of where we're at, it seems, in our culture as well. It's quite interesting to see that too. Fans more than ever care about that stuff. I mean, that has been the struggle with Star Wars, is that it's made by people where fans are like, oh, well, do they actually care about this? And it's a struggle. So I think these days you are better off doing that and having more communication. And look, it rewards you in a solid box office because you're gaining trust in your audience, and they're like, no, it's made by these people, I will go out to the theater and support this.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think it's smart. I also think we've seen recently in the past few years a big people with already existing online personalities shifting into like wide released box office movies, like the guys behind the Talk to Me and whatever. Like those
guys are like
making YouTube.
Our age, probably grew up with those games.
Apparently the kid Kane Pixels, who made the Backrooms YouTube videos and the Rolling Giant series, which is actually incredible. If you haven't seen that, look it up. It's almost all made in Blender and it looks realistic, and this isn't AI. It's some 19-year-old kid who spent 2 summers working on a 50-minute long movie in Blender.
That's sick.
It's really cool stuff. Studios are trusting like these types of people because there's a built-in audience.
Right.
With like, here's $10 million, and if it crashes and burns, it's not any different than if we give John Waters $10 million to make his last movie. It's interesting. It's very interesting. If I was making short films on YouTube, I wouldn't be giving up now, is what I'm saying.
I didn't know there was an end credit scene. I should have known, but this isn't a
yeah, there was.
This isn't a Five Nights expert review by any means. Anyway, I wouldn't have known what it meant anyway. But as I was leaving, like the younger people in my theater, like I turned around and looked. They looked like that John Hamm meme, like sitting in the chair. Of course, not with a cigarette, but in that they looked engaged. And there's that meme of a father taking his like 5-year-old son to the Minecraft movie with that same like John Hamm meme. And it's real though. Like they are watching those movies like how I watched, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Like I'm sure that's exactly how I looked. Like it's cool to see that not only is there a connection to something that is, newer from this, last 20 years of my life, but it's it seems something genuine as well. Like this doesn't feel like an industry plant by any means. The Five Nights at Freddy's was made from love, that video game in the first place. So I don't mind if this does become a conglomerate, even if I don't enjoy the movies.
I think it's really nice to be at the point now where, I'm old enough to not give a shit about this, yet I'm still trying. You know,
Yeah,
I don't have kids,
I
but
want
it's
to watch
like
these
I
movies.
feel like I have kids because this movie's in theaters. Like I feel old enough where I should have reproduced by now.
I should have asked this during Black Phone, but I was going to give ourselves a criteria. Do you think this movie should be seen in theaters? Should you rent it? Should you stream it? Or should you avoid it?
I mean, this is a stream it movie, whether or not.
I
I
agree.
mean, the first one was only because it came out day and date on Peacock. Like, there was no reason to go see the first movie in theaters, and I'm really happy I did twice. This one, I mean, I don't know. I want people to have that cinematic experience, but unless you're in the target demographic for this movie, you're gonna just be annoyed by the amount of loud kids gasping every time they say like a character's name. Like every single time they say a character's name, it was like woo, or they'd be like, "Oh my God, Bonnie!" Like it's like I'm not the target demographic for this, but if I was, go see it in theaters.
Yeah, I saw this at a matinee for a reason. I was like, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I want to do that right now, especially during the holidays when, like, you know, everyone's Christmas shopping and maybe you just want to, you know, do something for an hour and a half. Maybe, you know, the father takes the kids while the mother goes shopping or the other way around.
Yeah,
It perfect
kids are out
time
of
for a
school
movie
soon
like
too.
this. Any closing thoughts? I gave it 1 star on Letterboxd, unfortunately. I just didn't like it very
Wow.
much.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I think I gave the first one like a 2.5 or a 3, and I had to like defend it quite a bit whenever that was 2023. But for me, this one's this one's like a 1.5. I thought this was significantly like less enjoyable, pretty much on all fronts. I thought the writing for the characters just don't feel earned to me. Even though things were kind of cliche and forced in the first one, I was caught off guard enough by the world and like the lore to like try to follow it along and care. But by this one, I'm just like, I'm too old. I don't care. I don't know these characters. I don't want to look up videos about what the backstory is to them. I just want to be entertained at the movies, and this it wasn't. I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored in tears.
I just wish it was more funny. Like, I just wish the screenplay had a little more life to it, you know?
Yeah.
There was just a little, it just wasn't enough for me. Yeah. To continue this gaming discussion, we were talking about what we should do for the second half of this video, and I thought it'd be fun to give our top 5 video games that should be movies. We didn't really hit a criteria. I only picked one video game that does have a movie that I really want to try again. Everything else, I believe, doesn't have a movie yet. So that's how I went with
I
it.
picked all ones that don't currently have a movie, but like 3 of them have been in like pre-production hell for like almost 20 years.
No, okay,
So.
yeah.
You know, allegedly there's a movie in the works, but I don't know. Who knows?
I'll kick it off because that segues into my number 5, which is Need for Speed. Let's try again because I growing up I had a Need for Speed game on the Xbox. I loved it. So Gran Turismo came out 2 years ago. Movie was fine, shot really well.
I liked it.
And then F1 this past year. Of course, high budget. A Need for Speed movie would not have that budget. But I feel like just societally, we forgot how to shoot cars in the trends, but now we're back. Cars look awesome on the big screen again, so I think we need to give Need for Speed another shot. Get some charismatic actors in there, get some attractive actors in there, and let's do it. I'm down.
Do we give Aaron Paul another shot? Does he get a cameo? Does he get to reprise his role from his Breaking Bad follow-up?
You could definitely get Aaron Paul in there for the, to get that audience, maybe it could get Jory to the theater, shout out.
What if you have him play like kind of like the elder statesman of sorts?
He could be the guy that teaches the main character how to street race.
He's just a mechanic, like at a shop or something like that. Like in Drive, how Bryan Cranston's the mechanic at the shop. Like, I don't know, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I'd be down.
I don't hate that. I don't even hate that Need for Speed movie. It's not good, but like when the Fast and the Furious movies were clearly turning into just giant action spectacles, like an actual movie that focuses on streetcar racing again was actually kind of refreshing.
Yeah.
So like do it again. Why not?
It was a January movie, and at the time, especially at the time, January movies were so skippable. Like, make this a tentpole movie, put a nice budget around it. You could have a hit. Both Gran Turismo and F1 prove that car movies are back. So I think now's the time to do it.
No, I think that's a good one. It almost made my list. I was thinking about like which car video games I played the most of, and I was between Need for Speed and Burnout. And I like that
Another good
Burnout
one.
was a little bit more over the top.
Hmm.
And then I was also thinking like, well, I like to play Twisted Metal, and that's really over the top. You could do
Yeah.
a great movie about that. And then I looked it up, and there's a video game TV show on FX, I think, or something like that.
I believe,
And it's on its like 4th season.
yeah, I believe Samoa Joe voices somebody in that or something. Yeah, it's got a weird cast,
Cool.
I believe.
Yeah, I think like Anthony Mackie's in it. Like it's
Yeah.
kind of big. I'd never heard about it, but anyway, I did not do that. My number 5, you, me, and Jory were talking about this last week, I think. I think that they should make a Helldivers movie,
Yeah.
only because it is like, it's just an excuse to do Starship Troopers again,
Mhm.
and you don't have to be subtle. Like, we can just get someone trying to do their stunt at a Paul Verhoeven thing, and like, that might be how I find one of my new favorite directors. Like, I know that sounds really stupid, but I really like the on-the-nose satire. Don't Look Up was one of my favorite movies of 2019. I'm that guy, I'm sorry. And Helldivers is just that. You can also do some really cool action scenes, because the whole game is you're either fighting a giant bug army, and they're scary, or
Yeah.
you're fighting these like robots, like you're doing like Terminator Robot War stuff, which I don't think we've even gotten on the big screen properly yet in the Terminator franchise. So you can kind of do both at the same time, and the characters in the game are pretty much non-existent. They're all avatars. So you can go full chicken jockey mode, and you can put, you know, what's his face, Roman Reigns and Jack Black in it again. Like, you can do whatever
Yeah.
you want, and I don't think people will be that upset, because it is just a silly, fun time.
When you said Helldivers, the director I did have in mind was Doug Liman, and I'm like, if you make a Kino, you get Doug Liman, and you make this shit like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, if you want like the earnest version, like sure, do Doug Liman, like, or the guy who did the Tron movie and F1. I'm sure he's busy now, but I mean, that guy would be a fine choice if you want to make it like properly cinematic.
Right.
But like, I feel like you could do this story in like really like off the wall comedy with big action set pieces, and I feel like that's not something we get too much of anymore. And I would
Yeah.
love to see someone take a crack at it. I would maybe go with the guy from The Lonely Islands who made the Naked Gun movie and
Yeah.
the Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie. I say aim comedy first and then action second, but the action's still got to be good. I mean, the threats of the game are actually pretty intense, because you're always running out of ammo. You need the supply drops. You need the garrison bonus. It would be fun. It would be fun.
You know, I think I watched it in a YouTube video that people, when they play Galactic Conquest, actually ban the garrison bonus. That's actually a house rule. I'm
Yeah,
like,
dude.
damn, that's wild. I never did.
I banned the garrison bonus back on my fucking battlefield, and that's why I was so on Battlefront. I was so perturbed when you were doing that during Galactic Conquest. One time we played that together, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You have like unlimited lives."
Speaking of Star Wars, my number 4, The Force Unleashed, is my number 4. Of course, I had to bring up a Star Wars game because video games and Star Wars actually do go great together most of the time. And I juggled this with Knights of the Old Republic, and I went with this one because I was really thinking about what would actually be a hit. And I feel like if you just release that title, Force Unleashed, that alone would get a whole generation of Star Wars fans hyped. The only thing, for those of you who don't know, the plot of this is that Darth Vader had a secret apprentice during the events of the original trilogy, and this secret apprentice would eventually turn on him. Pretty by the book Star Wars stuff, but it's a really good story and a great game. Unfortunately, James Earl Jones is not with us anymore, so I don't know how you do this without him. Because I don't want AI Darth Vader. I don't think Darth Vader should be on the big screen anymore because of the passing of him. So I don't know if this movie's possible anymore. You could definitely do it where Starkiller is already existing, is already established somewhere. There is a way to do it. There still is. But I think, yeah, this would be the one that would make money when I thought of Star Wars games that should be adapted.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I definitely get your argument for doing that over Knights of the Old Republic, because I think if you ask Star Wars fans just a little bit older than us, or more gamer than us, because neither one of us really play a ton of video games.
Right. Yeah, The Force
But
Unleashed
I
is
think-
probably in my top 10 video games of all time because of my lack of gaming.
What I like about The Force Unleashed is essentially it's just God of War, but Star Wars. Like, at least the first few God of War games, not the new, like, relaunched ones from probably 10 years ago now, but the 20-year-old God of War games. Force Unleashed is just one of those, but Star Wars, and, like, there is kind of this, like, beat-em-up vibe, and then also, like, a little bit of a revenge plot and a choose-your-own-adventure element that I think could be cool. I think casting for that is really hard. I think the real elephant in the room with the Darth Vader thing, I wouldn't choose to not have Darth Vader in my movie. I'm glad that you are more benevolent than I think Disney is.
Yeah,
unfortunately. I think you could also just get some new voice in there because it is kind of based off of, former EU stuff and kind of fan fiction. You can do a different spin on it, I think.
And unfortunately, Sam Witwer is probably too old to play him now because, of course, he would have been perfect if they made this movie 10 years ago. But, you could get an unknown actor to play Starkiller. What's cool about Starkiller is that it is something Star Wars movies have struggled with. It's a main character people actually like. So that's why I think this would be the most, like, friendly one, because it's already a character people have a connection with.
That's interesting. I feel like you wouldn't even want to go with, like, a no-name, per se, but just, like, someone you haven't seen play, like, a badass kind of stoic, silent type.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
There's
definitely some young actors that would love that role.
It's got to be an action-first Star Wars movie, too. Like, I want prequel-type lightsaber duels as well.
Do you have a director in mind?
I was trying to think of it, but I don't really know off the top of my head. That'd be tough. That'd be a tough one. Because, you want it to still have the epicness of a Star Wars movie, but you also want somebody that's, action forward as well. It'd be really tough to choose, actually.
It sounds kind of cringe, so maybe I'll delete this. But someone from the DCEU would probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I could see James Wan doing this well. I could even see Zack Snyder doing this pretty well. Like, if we're talking just straight up, like, action, let Zack Snyder do a Star Wars movie. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
It would look great.
Especially with how over the top the action in that game is. I love the first two. Well, I guess there's only two, but the Force Unleashed games were staples on my Nintendo Wii. I was swinging my Wii remote like crazy playing that.
The visual of the Star Destroyer pulling down is such an iconic visual that would be so awesome in an IMAX theater, especially fans would be expecting it. Like, it would be like something like a Nolan movie. Like, it has to be that epic.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd see it. But, I'd more likely to see that in theaters than Grogu and Mandalorian, or whatever the hell that's called.
Maybe Starkiller will show up in that movie. But
if he does, I'm standing up and clapping.
What is your number 4?
So my number 4, I wanted to go with one that is a beloved IP for me and probably a lot of millennials, but has not gotten a movie and probably never will. I think it would work. I mean, I didn't grow up playing Mario, at least not until I was like 10 or 11, but I had hand-me-down PlayStation games, and I was thinking back and forth. I was like, well, there's Crash Bandicoot and there's Spyro, and those are kind of the two mascots of that era on that console. And Crash doesn't really have a lot of agency as a character. He doesn't speak. He has like a couple of catchphrases that are kind of just exaggerations. But Spyro, you could kind of do something a little more fleshed out with. And I think both those series have really fun villains and mini bosses and worlds. But I've opted for Spyro mostly because of the soundtrack. I think the Stuart Copeland soundtrack for that game is awesome, and the worlds are really, really diverse and interesting. There's all these different realms and all these different things you could show off in the same way that I think like you made an Illumination tier Mario movie pretty good. If you do one that's like half the budget, the original games do a really good job having all these fun character actors voice all these elder dragons that you're rescuing. I feel like getting some like theater people in the mix on the voice acting front, cut that budget in half from hiring Chris Pratt and Anya Taylor-Joy, and then boom, there you go. Make a $45 million Spyro animated movie, and I'm there. I think it could be cool. The music's good, the worlds are cool, and yeah, the vibes are interesting. And I think there's a big fan base for that. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
Spyro is right up there with like Sonic the Hedgehog in terms of like annoying online fan bases. And there's the Skylanders series that was really big for kids that were just a little
Yeah.
bit younger than us, which is technically a Spyro spin-off. And it was like huge. It's the reason that Nintendo made the amiibo and all that kind of stuff. Like there's generational pull there, and you can reintroduce it to a new younger audience, the kids of today, the Gen Alphas.
So you wouldn't do a fish out of water story where he goes to like Brooklyn and does interact in the human world?
No, I wouldn't. I respect them for doing that with Spyro, or for Sonic, and I think that they've done a pretty good job with that franchise of slowly bringing it more and more back to its IP. But no, we're not doing a fish out of water story here. I don't want to see a single human character. Not one.
Well, to segue into my number 3 is The Sims. I want to do a fish out of water story, but I want it to be a rom-com, and the girl goes into the Sims world, falls in love with a male Sims guy, but he can only speak the Sims language, so the whole time she's falling in love with him, but there's this language barrier of the Sims language.
Like, is Death like a character? Is it like, is this like,
Oh yeah.
this is Barbie but chaotic?
And they gotta do the sex scene, but it's like the woohoo on the top. Like, they gotta do it all. Like, there's a great rom-com here, I feel like. With the right director and cast, it could be awesome.
Pitch me. Who's directing this? What's your cast?
Oh, man. Let's see. Cast-wise, let's go with Jennifer Lawrence. Because I think she would
Wow.
work as the girl landing in the Sims world.
She would do like the frustrated at not being able to understand anyone very well.
Yes. And the man she falls in love with, it should probably be, so it's somebody that's, for pretty much the whole movie, just speaking nonsense. I'd probably go with, I was trying to think of something ridiculous, like a big, like, buff actor. Like, I'm trying to think around, like, Jennifer Lawrence age group. It could be like a Jason Momoa, but he's constantly like the hair and clothes keep changing throughout the movie as well. Like, it
Okay.
could get ridiculous. And then
I think the guy from Bridgerton season 1 that was in that Dungeons and Dragons movie that every woman thinks is like the hottest guy ever would be pretty good.
that's a
Or
good one too.
the guy who plays Fiero in these Wicked movies who just won
Yes.
Sexiest Man of the Year.
Jonathan Bailey. It would also be really funny if you got like an A-list, like Academy Award winning actor, and he has to sit there and do the
Bradley
Sims
Cooper.
Yeah, like he's got to sit there and do the Sims language. But as for directors, that Jennifer Lawrence comedy that was really good, get that director. You know, somebody that kind of gets it. Like, he was able to direct kind of like a gamer nerd kid, so he'd probably understand the world of The Sims. I don't know how Jennifer Lawrence gets to The Sims world. I'm not sure how we get there, but I want that to happen.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. If I just woke up in the Sims world, I'd be terrified.
The male character's walking, but he's like stuck in a corner and he freaks out like the Sims do when they can't like go somewhere because somebody's like making something. And they leave like mac and cheese on the floor, like how the Sims do when you cook something. And at some point the house has got to set on fire. Like, she's got to rescue him from a house on fire. Like, that's got to be the big climax of it, where they like actually have feelings for each other after their big fight.
I'm so down for this Josh Kubis this Ace written Sims movie. I'm so on board. I think millennials would eat this shit up.
Oh, they would love it. Yeah.
This movie's making $1 billion.
What is your next one?
My number 3. This one is not for this one's not for the millennials. The millennials will hate this movie. This movie is for the Gen X dads. We're doing Metal Gear Solid the movie, and we are not shying away from a single real life analog. We're going full science fiction, Tom Clancy-esque,
Hell
like
yeah.
spy. We're doing Die Hard with more stealth. We're going full
Michael Bay joint? Definitely. Yeah.
You know, there was a time like 15 years ago where I think maybe like Kiefer Sutherland could have just jumped off of 24 before he became like too much of an alcohol and cokehead to like hop right into the role for the character he was voice acting.
I think you need people on coke for this movie. Like, I think Conor McGregor should
Yeah.
play somebody in this movie.
Conor McGregor can definitely play like some like middle tier villain.
Yeah, it's
I
got to
don't
be
know
an
if I want this
unhinged
to be like,
cast.
and I think like 5 years ago there was a rumor that Oscar Isaac was signed to play this.
I do remember that.
I think that that's, a really, really solid choice. I know what kind of movie I want this to be, and I think this movie makes a whole lot more money if you just put Jason Statham there.
Yeah. Do
It's
you make it a Guy Ritchie?
Sure, we could do Guy Ritchie. I don't know. There's the thing is, the stories of the Metal Gear Solid games are really, really out there, and they're really over the top, but they're good. Like,
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima needs to still write the movie. And I think that that's, like, imperative.
Yeah.
Honestly, do I trust Guy Ritchie to adapt Hideo Kojima's work? Sure. You know what? Let's see what happens there. Get Jason Statham there.
I mean, we're talking post-Aladdin Guy Ritchie. That guy's down for anything if the pay's right.
I forgot he made that Aladdin movie.
There's some shots in that Aladdin movie that I'm like, wow, that's really good. And then I remember, well, Guy Ritchie did direct it. Like, he's not a bad director.
Another guy I was thinking that could maybe do it, but like his last 3 movies have been very, very strange to me and feel like the studio has just re-edited them. Shane Black.
Yes, that'd be a nice one.
I feel like a Shane Black Metal Gear Solid could be pretty cool. I feel like he's also one of the few guys that's in Hollywood that's probably played these games.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. I'm shopping around, and if not Jason Statham, he's probably a little too old. Like, realistically, I don't know. I think Glenn Powell can do this better. Just,
That's true.
he has to be full hangman mode the entire time. We're not doing this half foot in, half foot out Running Man bullshit. You don't
Right.
get to be Hangman and the guy from Twisters. You don't get to be both of them in one movie. I know you can do better, Glenn Powell. In fact, I want it to be him. He's playing Snake. My dad is seeing this movie opening weekend.
That 24 movie that he's in that supposedly they're barely promoting looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I saw the trailer like last week. Is that coming out in like February?
Yeah, it's like early next year, I think. That looks fine. I don't know if I'd see it in theaters, but I would check it out on streaming. My number 2 is the Stanley Parable, which was a game kind of in the realm of Five Nights at Freddy's, one of those viral YouTube games. I love this game. I think it's one of the funniest games I've ever played. I get such a kick out of this game with the narrator and kind of choosing your own adventure. I think this would be a great thriller / dark comedy, almost a psychological thriller in a way. And you could do the distribution of this movie could be 2 different ways. Either it goes on a Netflix and you do the Black Mirror thing where it's a literal choose your own adventure and it's kind of like a half game, or you do a theatrical release, but it's a different ending in the theater, what Unfriended 2 tried to do. And so you could go both of those ways. But I think the Stanley Parable would be a pretty cool movie. They just did a couple of years ago an Ultimate Edition of the game, and it really expanded on it in a really funny way as well. I've always enjoyed this game, and I think it could be an interesting movie.
I like that. I'm not familiar with the game, but I have seen people play it in passing. I think that'd be fun. I think that like would be a unique tone.
Yeah.
To like try to land. And it works really well in the choose your own adventure way, but I feel like if you flesh out some of the mystery elements a little bit more, you could probably make that a really compelling, like multi-ending type thing. Too.
It's got to be incredibly self-aware. Like it has to know what it is. Like I don't even know who could direct it, who could star in it. Like that, it's got to be somebody that just gets it. Because like that, yeah. Like it's once you just accept what the game is, you get such a kick out of it, and you keep just wanting to replay it. It's a good time.
My next one, my number 2, is Mega Man.
Nice.
I think that Mega Man is a classic platformer. There's some games with stories. Mega Man Legends was like the first 3D one that I remember that had like a fleshed out plot and had a lot of its own new lore added to it. But I really think the interesting part of Mega Man is to have these kind of like dueling mad scientists. You've got Dr. Wily and I forget the good doctor guy, but he's cool. They're kind of batting heads, and Dr. Wily's got all these evil robots because he was trying to make a Mega Man. And then you've got this is like a perfect plot for like a good versus evil movie for 10-year-old boys that I think you could do a lot of fun with. There are all of these other robots that you could have Mega Man face off against. You have an opportunity for like celebrity voice actor cameos where they're not really voice acting, but whatever. Like
Yeah.
you could make a Mega Man movie make $1 billion in a world where the Mario movie made $1 billion just by having fun action set pieces and like the most thin plot ever. And because the game is split up into a bunch of short levels, you could constantly be mixing it up with different elements and vibes and soundtrack kind of elements. I'm thinking like this one is like the most like mainstream popcorn kids movie on my list, but like there could still be some fun there. Like I think that this is like a perfect in between IP where people aren't going to be pissed if it's like doing its own thing like the Mario movie kind of does, but they're also going to be like nostalgic when they hear the Rockman theme. Like, yeah, especially when you think about trying to make this movie for international audiences, this is a movie for anybody.
As soon as you said it, I was like, nightmare scenario, Tom Holland voices Mega Man. I feel like out of all of ours, I feel like that one feels inevitable. Like, I feel like a Mega Man movie will happen eventually, especially if our theories are true that we're going to get so much oversaturation in these video game movies, they're going to start getting the deeper cuts, much like what the MCU did.
Nice. I'm excited to hear your number one because I had a crazy idea for number one, and then I was like, no, that's too crazy.
My number one, I think, would probably make $1 billion if done right. My number one, Sea of Thieves. The game doesn't have a plot. You could do the high-budget pirate movie that I so would love, and you could do the Minecraft route and just make it chaotic, get entertaining people in it, and just make references to the games. It's perfect. If you want to make more movies like Minecraft, Sea of Thieves is right there, next in line you could do. I was trying to think of who I'd even cast. I mean, you can have, it's such an open book. You can have anybody. Like, I just want it done right. Like, make it ridiculous. Like, make it even more over the top than the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I mean, yeah, just make it fun. Like, make it a fun adventure movie. If this is what it takes to get the action adventure genre back in the mainstream again, I'll take it. I'm down for Sea of Thieves.
Do you have a director in mind?
I would fuck it. Gore, come back. Let him do another pirate movie. And
that's crazy. I love that.
He could, because at World's End, he got so weird with it because he was running out of ideas. So I think he'd get even weirder with Sea of Thieves because he would have no ideas.
Wow. That's gonna be like the 6th Pirates of the Caribbean movie we all want.
The one we all wanted. Yep. You could just go so over the top with it. You could make up some really funny characters. Yeah. I'd be super down for it. I've played Sea of Thieves a couple of times too. It's a cool game. It's got Pirates of the Caribbean content in it. It's a fun time.
I was thinking Brad Bird.
Nice.
I was thinking
that'd
he
be
could
another
do
good
something
one.
pretty inventive, have some big action set pieces, and I don't know. I feel like what he's done with like. He made the first Incredibles, which I think is great, and Iron Giant. Those movies have some heart to them. I don't think you need that heart. I don't think you need anything sentimental, really, in Sea of Thieves. If you want to give the main character, like, a Will Turner backstory, be my guest, you're not obliged to. And then, like, for the big set pieces, like, just go full-on, like, Tomorrowland over-the-top spectacle. I want to feel the 7 Seas while I'm watching this.
Yes.
And I thought with, like, the Burj Khalifa scene, like, I felt like he breathed new life into Mission Impossible with Ghost Protocol and kind of reshaped what that entire franchise looked like through scope. So, like, yeah, let him cook.
Whoever's animating the water right now for Avatar, come over and do Sea of Thieves, because that's the biggest thing out of that game is how good the water looks. We need the water to look spectacular in the movie as well.
My real number one is Mass Effect. Games that I've never played, but I always watch streamers play.
I played the first two.
I think it makes a very good movie. It has a little bit of that choose your own adventure narrative. That's kind of the whole premise of it, is that you get to make your own decisions. You get to choose a romantic partner, and
I was about to say he's got to get laid in the movie. Like, he's got to be like James Bond in space. That would needs to happen. That's like half the point of Mass Effect.
And what I think Mass Effect has the ability to do is, like, be the in-between to two franchises that have no idea what they're doing right now. There is an element of Star Trek in Mass Effect that I like a lot, where there is this, like, high science fiction concept, but it can also be a little more action oriented in a way that isn't
The lore is very movie
bad.
friendly, like a Star Trek or Star Wars. It's very inviting, actually.
Yeah, and I also think too, because the main character is like an Avatar type character, you can kind of put whoever you want in that lead
Yeah.
role. I think he's done too many space movies, but like the first one that comes to mind, mostly because we know that this guy has to sling dick at some point, is Ryan Gosling. But
Yeah.
like it could be whoever.
Could be,
Like
yeah.
it really doesn't matter. But I don't know. I think there's enough stuff there, and the lore is not too deep. It's inviting, like you were saying. Like
Yeah.
there's an ongoing, galactic kind of conquest and like strife, but you're kind of in the middle of it. You're
Yeah.
not really like on one side or the other, and you can choose when you pick between one side or another.
Mhm.
And I think that this one could you could do a little bit of like social commentary without it being too hit the nail on the head and annoying people.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be Eddington.
The more friendly Helldivers. Doug Lyman could definitely do Mass Effect.
Doug Lyman could do Mass Effect.
It'd be very good. Yeah, would you do like a Bond thing and have a different girl every movie?
I would have a different girl and a different guy. It does
Yeah.
not matter.
Yeah. No, I'd be
Fuck
down.
it.
Yeah.
I changed my creative character. Okay, I didn't want to have short hair this time. Now I've got a mullet and a mustache, and I'm in space.
No, I think that's a great pick. I'm surprised Mass Effect didn't come to my mind because I do love the first two games. I never played the third one. I know it's got a controversial ending, but yeah, that's the one thing is when you get to that third movie, do you listen to the fans? Do you alter it? I don't know. There's a lot of questions there. But you're right. Ever since Mass Effect 3, the franchise is kind of in limbo. So maybe they should just try doing a movie. Maybe that's, maybe they're just out on video games right now.
I feel like Starfield was really like the team behind the Elder Scrolls games trying to do like a Mass Effect level game, and I think
Yeah.
it was good, if not great. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think video games themselves are kind of reaching the point now where they're like movies, where like they're too
Yeah.
expensive to make, they take so long, and like they're starting to kind of become less profitable in their own weird way unless they do some sort of like buy to win mechanic or like,
Yeah.
pay for in-game currencies and add-ons. And because of that, I think like there's a well of IP in video games from the last 15, 20, 30 years, but like this well's going to dry up eventually because like the really small indie games that only get 50,000 players or whatever are like, it was like lightning in the bottles. Like before Epic Games bought Fall Guys was like the biggest game on planet Earth for like 2 months. But you don't want to see a Fall Guys movie,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just Wipeout.
Yeah, Fall Guys like reality game show would be probably more likely than an actual movie.
Among Us is just a really bad remake of The Thing.
Among Us would probably turn it going back to reality shows probably be like Survivor. Like literally.
Big Brother Among Us.
I think these are solid top fives. I feel like we definitely pick stuff. I feel like we got a mix of everything though. We picked modern stuff, we picked stuff from our past, we picked stuff from before we were born. I feel like we actually we have a very diverse 10 picks here. Let us know in the comments what video game do you want to see on the big screen, of course, as always, and let us know what you thought of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Is it a certified gem? Is it a secret gem and we're just out of touch? Let us know. And I believe I have to pick the movie next episode.
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing?
I have decided. And you are gonna hate it.
Oh boy.
I don't know when we would be able to talk about it again. And I think both of us have such different opinions on the film. We have to cover Ron Howard's The Grinch. It is the 25th anniversary. I love that movie, and I know you're not a fan of it. It's going to make for a really entertaining discussion. I apologize that I'm picking another well-known IP, but it's time. We got to do it, and it will be with our Santa Claus Mount Rushmore as well, so it's going to be a perfect 2-for-1 special here on At the Movies.
All right, things are going to get seasonal, and I'm looking forward to checking out Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas again, a movie I do not have fond memories. This will be fun.
It's going to be wild. But thank you all for watching. This has been At the Movies with Ace and Martin. And no, I still do not have an outro for this pod.